When did your Rear D commander prove they were more dangerous than deployment? Rear detachment duty. The guys left behind while everyone else deploys. Usually older soldiers, medical profiles, administrative types. Nobody expects much from Rear D. Our Rear detachment commander was Lieutenant Colonel Brennan, 52 years old, bad knee from a parachute accident. Couldn't deploy but refused to retire. Most Rear D commanders just coast. Keep the lights on. Process paperwork. Wait for the real unit to come home. Not Brennan. Guy treated garrison like it was downtown Baghdad. First week, he implemented random inspections at AO 300. Full gear, combat load. We'd be sleeping, then suddenly sirens blaring and Brennan screaming through the barracks. Enemy attack! Everyone to defensive positions! Move! 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 We'd stumble outside in our uniforms half asleep while Brennan timed us with a stopwatch. Anyone over 10 minutes got extra duty. My buddy Dalton complained to the first sergeant, "Sir, this is stateside. There's no enemy. We're in Kansas." Brennan overheard. "Complacency kills, soldier. Just because you're not deployed doesn't mean you're not at war." He started running field training exercises on base, live fire drills in the motor pool, urban combat scenarios in the administrative buildings, turned our entire rear detachment into some kind of special forces fantasy camp. The deployed unit heard about it. They were actually in combat. Actual firefights. Real IEDs. They'd call back asking what the hell was happening at home. Brennan's got us doing room clearing drills in the supply warehouse, our supply sergeant told them. Twice a week. Full battle rattle. The guys overseas thought it was hilarious. Sent us care packages with toy soldiers and coloring books. Since you're playing army while we're actually doing the job. But Brennan kept pushing. Physical training 5 days a week. Ruck marches every Saturday. Land navigation courses every Sunday. He ran rear detachment harder than most combat units train. 3 months in, we hated him, despised him. Rear D was supposed to be easy duty. Instead, we were more exhausted than the deployed guys. Then, everything changed on a Tuesday morning. Base housing, family apartments where deployed soldiers' wives and kids lived. Some deranged ex-boyfriend showed up with a gun, started making threats, breaking windows, screaming about his ex-girlfriend who'd married a soldier. Base police responded but couldn't get close. Guy was firing randomly. Families trapped inside apartments, kids crying, women calling 911. I was in the motor pool when the call came. Active shooter in housing area. All available personnel respond immediately. Brennan appeared out of nowhere. Load up. Combat formation. Weapons hot. This is real world. We grabbed our rifles, piled into vehicles, and headed toward housing. I remember thinking this was insane. We were mechanics and clerks, not infantry, not trained for this. But Brennan had trained us. 3 months of relentless drilling, room clearing, urban combat, tactical movement. We arrived before SWAT. Brennan immediately started organizing us into fire teams, assigned sectors, established communication protocols. Everything we practiced in those stupid drills suddenly made sense. The muscle memory kicked in. Nolan, take your team left flank. Pierce, right flank. I want eyes on all exits. Nobody moves without my signal. The shooter was barricaded in an apartment, holding his ex-girlfriend and her 2 kids hostage, making demands, getting more unstable by the minute. Brennan coordinated with base police, established a perimeter, started evacuating nearby apartments using tactics we'd rehearsed dozens of times. When SWAT finally arrived, they found us already in tactical positions. Families safely evacuated. Situation contained. SWAT commander asked Brennan, "These are rear detachment soldiers?" Brennan nodded. Best trained Rear D in the army. The standoff lasted 6 hours. Ended when the shooter finally surrendered. Nobody got hurt. Not one civilian casualty. Base commander showed up afterward, walked through housing, saw how we'd organized everything, talked to the families we'd evacuated. He pulled Brennan aside. I was close enough to hear, "Colonel, I owe you an apology. Thought you were crazy with all that training. Turns out you were preparing for exactly this." Brennan just shrugged. Rear detachment doesn't mean rear echelon. It means you're the last line of defense for the families back home. When our deployed unit returned 8 months later, they heard the whole story. Guys who'd been making fun of us suddenly got quiet. Their battalion commander called a formation, addressed the entire unit. While you were fighting overseas, your rear detachment faced an active shooter on base. They responded with a kind of professionalism and tactical excellence that saved lives. He looked at Brennan. "Colonel, your training standards are now being adopted army-wide for all rear detachment operations." Brennan retired 6 months later. At his ceremony, he said something I'll never forget. "People think Rear D is where soldiers go to relax, but the families back home deserve the same protection as our troops overseas. Maybe more because they're not expecting a threat." Last I heard, Brennan's training program is now mandatory at every major base. They call it the Brennan Protocol. That ex-boyfriend got 15 years in prison. The family he terrorized sent Brennan a letter thanking him. Dalton, the guy who complained about the training, became a drill sergeant. Uses Brennan's methods. Says it's the only way to really prepare soldiers for anything.